name is Paige and I'm a 27-year-old saleswoman. This is my boyfriend Takashi, and I started going out with him when we were both in college. And a few years after we graduated, he proposed to me and we became engaged. We were thinking about getting married soon, but that's when my father, who raised me all by himself, passed away with cancer. And so after waiting a couple of months, we officially got married late last year. He always has my back and has been a great companion for me. I knew that I was going to be able to start a family with him, but there's something that's been bothering me recently. And that's my relationship with my in-laws. My in-laws live in an apartment that's right beside our house, so we visit them on the weekends when we have time, but I don't know why, but they seem to not like me very much. They always bully me and pick on me for some reason. I guess it bothers them that I have their son all to myself now, but that's such a ridiculous reason to pick on someone. They're adults. Why can't they act more mature, huh? And the other day when we joined them for dinner at their place... Oh, so you're here too, Paige? I thought Takashi was gonna come alone. Well, what? But you told me I could come with you when you called us earlier. I'm sorry, but I don't think we have enough food for you, Paige. You're just gonna have to watch. That's when I saw my sister-in-law, Towako, standing next to her mother and grinning at me. They definitely know what they're doing, don't they? And so, although I sat down at the dining room table with everyone, I didn't get my own plate. They were kind enough to give me a bowl of rice with umeboshi on top, but this obviously isn't enough. This is exhausting.
Hey guys! What the hell is this? Here, you can have some of my food, Paige. Just take as much as you'd like. And guys, why are you doing this to her? You have to stop acting like a bunch of children!
Well, we didn't do it on purpose. We didn't think Paige was coming, so we didn't make anything for her. Yeah, it's her fault for showing up uninvited. Don't blame us for this. What the hell are they talking about? You guys did invite me, though. I've been able to hold on because Takashi always stands up for me, but I'm still getting tired of being treated like this every week. It's just so childish.
I'm really sorry about this, Paige. My father died when I was young, and they've been out of control ever since.
My mother-in-law and Towako look and act the same. They're almost identical if you ask me. Towako's husband never says anything either, and most times I end up forgetting he's in the room with us. But I can't believe Takashi turned out fine when he's surrounded by such selfish and nasty people. His father must have taken good care of him until he passed away. That's why he has more common sense than his other family members. Oh yeah, and speaking of fathers, this was what my mother-in-law and Towako said about him when he was admitted to the hospital after falling ill. I can't believe he would get sick like that when his daughter just got married. Talk about terrible timing, huh? We've already made the preparations for our son's wedding, but what are we supposed to do now? We're gonna have to bring out funeral clothes before we actually get to wear our wedding clothes. Yeah, and I can't believe Takashi actually married the girl. Apparently she goes home to see her parents every weekend. I bet she's not taking care of things around the house for Takashi at all. What a terrible wife she is. I was hoping he'd marry someone with a little more common sense, but so much for that, I guess. Why the hell would they talk about my father like that when we just found out he had cancer? And I can't believe they would say these things in front of his daughter. They're the ones that don't have any common sense.
Hey, Mom! You better knock it off right now! Why don't you show a little more empathy, huh?
And just like that, Takashi has been standing up for me every time his family members say something insensitive or do something out of line. But learning that my father had cancer took a huge mental toll on me, and it was becoming more and more difficult for me to handle the little insults that my in-laws threw at me. I would usually ignore them or laugh at them in their faces, but I wasn't strong enough to do that at the time. And so after discussing this matter with my husband, we decided that it'd be best if I stayed away from my in-laws while I took care of my father at the hospital. My in-laws didn't show me any compassion when my father passed away, and they kept on pressuring us to get married and make children. But I was able to maintain my sanity thanks to Takashi, who told me that we weren't in a rush and that we could get married whenever I felt comfortable. And so after getting over my father's death, we were finally able to get married last year. My life would be perfect if it weren't for my in-laws, but I was a part of their family now, and I couldn't just keep on ignoring them. And so I was doing my best to visit them as often as I could, but One day, when we visited their home after being invited back, this happened. Towako, her husband, and my mother-in-law were all waiting for us at the entrance when we got to the apartment. But after greeting us, Towako's husband retreated to another room. I guess he doesn't want to get caught up in what's about to happen. Well, long time no see, Paige. It's been a while, hasn't it? We were beginning to worry about you, but here you finally are. You don't like us very much, do you? I can't believe you didn't visit your in-laws for a month when we gave you the privilege of marrying into our family. Well, you still have a full-time job, so I bet you're much busier than both of us. You really should be proud of what you do, you know? Because we know we are. Here we go again. Towako also doesn't like that I have a full-time job for some reason. Oh, come on, ma'am. I don't hate you guys. I love you. I was just a bit busy with work is all. And I love you too, Towako. It doesn't matter if you don't have a full-time job like me. It's not that that makes me better than you. And so I tried my best to fake a smile, but on the inside, this is what I was thinking. God, this is such a drag! I looked over to Takashi, who was frowning, just like me.
Guys, how many times do I have to tell you this? You have to stop treating Paige like this, or else we're gonna stop visiting you guys entirely!
But Takashi, I wanted you to marry someone from a more prestigious family. What the hell is she talking about? Is she trying to insult me right now? She's a nobody that doesn't belong in our family, all right? I don't know why you married her, but you can still go back, you know. God damn it! Sure, my father might not have been very successful, but that's because he had to raise me all by himself after losing his wife when I was young. And I guess you could call me a nobody since I don't have any family members outside of you guys, but that doesn't mean you can insult me like this! I trembled with anger and clenched my fists. Yeah, and you guys didn't even host a wedding because Paige didn't have any family members she could invite. It's kind of sad, really. We were really hoping that Takashi would host a huge wedding for us, since he's our family's firstborn son and all. Well, I don't really have anything to say about that. My family comes from a very rural part of the country, and since most of my relatives are very old, it's difficult for them to come out to the city.
Who cares about a wedding? And besides, Paige is all I need. I don't care about anything else.
Oh, that's so sweet, Takashi! But those words clearly didn't mean anything for my mother-in-law. During dinner, she kept on throwing insults at me and complained about how bad of a wife I was for her son. God, she's so annoying! When's she gonna get tired of this? But anyways, I still can't believe you married this hillbilly girl. I reluctantly accepted your marriage because you insisted on it, but she had no close family members, no money, and no status. I don't know how you managed to fall in love with her. I still don't think you're fit to be my son's wife. Yeah, you can say that again. Takashi, could you tell us why you married this girl? It just doesn't make any sense. What the hell is their problem? And that's when I felt something break inside of me. I didn't really care for how much they insulted me, but I wasn't gonna let them bring my family into this. I had to stand up for myself, both for my sake and for my family's sake. Ma'am, with all due respect, that's a ridiculous statement. Sure, I might not have any close family members right now, but when my parents were alive, they raised me with tons of love and sincerity. And it's not like I don't own any assets either. My father owned a few plots of land in the mountains, and that's been passed on to me as inheritance. That's right, my father owned a couple of mountains in his rural hometown, and now that he's gone, it's been passed on to me. But as soon as my mother-in-law and Towako heard me say that, they raised their eyebrows and stared at me in the face. What? Did you just say that you own some land in your father's hometown? You said you own a couple of mountains, right? How big are these plots exactly? Ha ha ha! Looks like they're interested. Alright, I should troll them a little. Well, let's see. I think it came out to around 46 acres. It's actually half of that, but I exaggerated the number to surprise them. Wait, what? 46 acres? That's massive. Ha ha ha! I bet they regret insulting me now. I didn't know you owned so much land. That's very impressive, but why the hell didn't you tell us about this until now? Well, because you never asked. And besides, you were the ones that were convinced that my father was poor. My father was never a successful businessman, but he was still famous in his hometown for owning the most land in the area. But man, it's crazy that you own so much land. My mother-in-law started grinning at me. That can't be a good sign. And a few seconds later, my mother-in-law started saying something utterly unbelievable. Well, since you married into our family, your land is basically ours now. And here's the plan. We're going to build a 2-story on your land. And when it's done, Toako and I are going to live there. What? You're going to build a house on my land? That's ridiculous! You can't do that! I tried to turn down their crazy idea, but it was clear Toako and my mother-in-law had made up their minds. Yes, we're gonna live in a brand new house! Toako was so happy that she looked like she was about to start dancing. And her husband, who had been sitting quietly at the corner of the table, finally let out a smile.
Paige's land is our land, huh? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We're finally going to own some real estate of our own! Yes!
My mother-in-law and Toako had been interested in purchasing their own house for a while now. And they've both been saving up for it. However, they were having a hard time finding a plot of land to build it on, and that's when I came into the picture. Yes, this is amazing! It might be a bit too rural for us, but it's only an hour away from the city, so it shouldn't be too bad. And the best thing about this is we don't have to purchase any land to build our house! I'm so excited! Wait, hold on! They're getting too carried away with this idea. Ma'am, with all due respect, that land is... When I opened my mouth, my mother-in-law turned her head towards me and yelled this at me. Shut up! You said your land was 46 acres, right? Then why does it matter if we build a house or 2 on it? Stop being so petty, all right? Just give us a plot of land and we'll be happy. I couldn't believe what my mother-in-law was saying and sat there in awe for a couple of seconds. But that's when Takashi started whispering something into my ear.
They've already made up their minds, so you're not going to be able to convince them at this point. Just let them do whatever they want, and we can get revenge on them afterwards.
Looks like Takashi's hiding a trick up his sleeve. He's got that evil look on his face again. And so I stopped trying to argue with my in-laws and headed back home. Hey, Takashi, why did you stop me back there? You do have a plan, right?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I'm tired of the way they always treat you. It doesn't matter how many times I tell them to stop. They just refuse to change their attitude towards you. So I think it's time I cut my ties with them.
Huh? Wait, does that mean?
And this was the last straw that broke the camel's back. I don't want anything to do with them anymore. Let's have them move out of this neighborhood, and we won't have to see them anymore.
Oh, I see. I know what he has planned now. But are you sure about this? They're your family, right? Do you really want to do this? But that's when Takashi said this to me.
Of course, honey. You're the most important person in my life to me, and I really don't care what happens to those people.
Oh my god, I'm so glad I married this man! Alright, let's do this! And so we initiated our plan to get revenge on my in-laws. And a few months later, my mother-in-law and Toako made us take care of everything related to the construction of the house. Because Takashi had connections with the construction industry, things went quite smoothly. Toako and my mother-in-law tried to offload the tedious paperwork onto us to make things easier for themselves, but it actually worked out in our favor. And so, after receiving the construction funds from them, we were able to execute our plan without anyone getting in the way. And today, Takashi and I are visiting my in-laws to tell them about the progress that we've made on the house. So how is the construction going? I'm so excited to see the house all for myself. I already sold this apartment to a buyer, so all I have to do now is wait for the house to get built. And so I held out a picture of the house and handed it to my mother-in-law. In the picture, there was a large 2-story house that was surrounded by a lush forest. Wait, what? You're kidding me, right? Don't tell me this is the house you're building. There's nothing around it. Is the house in the middle of nowhere? That's right! It's right in the middle of one of the mountains that my father owns. It was a pain in the ass making the ground flat, but it was all worth it. You guys are gonna have a massive backyard. I bet you're super excited for that. What? But there's nothing around it, right? So you guys lied to us?
No, we never lied to you. We already told you that there were mountains on the plot of land that Paige owned, but you guys still insisted on building a home on it. So we did exactly that. They said building the home took a lot of time and effort, but they were able to do it in the end.
I bet my in-laws thought they were going to be living in a town, but we already sold the individual plots of land that were surrounded by civilization. The only land that I own now is in the middle of nowhere. I tried telling them, but they refused to listen. You know, I tried to warn you guys many times, but you wouldn't listen. But anyway, you're gonna have to walk 10 miles if you want to reach the nearest town. You could start a farm, and that way you wouldn't have to buy groceries.
What about my job, though? How am I going to get to my office?
I don't know, and I don't care. Why don't you just drive to the nearest train station? It's only an hour. Are you kidding me? This must be some kind of joke. We can't live in a place like this. Why the hell didn't you tell us about this place? We've already paid the construction fee, though. Are we gonna get that back? Don't worry, the house itself is massive and has great amenities installed in it. I'm sure you guys will enjoy staying there. And fortunately, the house has running water and electricity as well. Oh, but you won't get any connection there, so there's that. But we're tired of you guys reaching out to us all the time, so it's good that you won't be able to call us anywhere. And although we may not be able to see each other as often anymore, we'll come and visit you guys when we can. But anyway, please enjoy your new life in the middle of nowhere. I'm sure you guys will be able to have some peace and quiet there. No! You've gotta be kidding me. Give us our money back!
Why the hell didn't you look into this beforehand? How the hell am I supposed to go to work, huh? God damn it! You two idiots!
Well, you didn't look into it either, so you're partly to blame as well. And so Takashi and I left their house while they all cried in anger and confusion. This is what happens when you don't listen to what people are trying to tell you. Afterwards, my in-laws moved into the house that we built for them. I guess they didn't really have a choice because they already sold their apartment at this point. The move-in process took days and the truck kept on getting stuck in the mud. And afterwards, Towako's husband fell ill due to the stress of having to spend 2 hours to get to work every day. And after getting tired of living in the middle of nowhere, he got a divorce with Towako and moved out of the house. But it's not like Towako and her mother had anywhere else they could go, so they're still living in the mountains, trying their best to not get killed by bears. One of my relatives that lives in the area told me that they started a small farm together, so it sounds like they're adapting quite well to their new circumstances. And now that they're out of my life, I'm living a stress-free life.
I'm sorry we ended up having to use your land in the end.
No, it's alright. That was basically like 1% of the total plot, so it doesn't really bother me.
But why did you end up keeping the land? Don't you need to pay taxes for it?
Wait, have I never told you about this? That area is famous for having great shiitake mushrooms.
Shiitake mushrooms? You mean the expensive ones?
That's right! And no one knows where they grow except for me. And so every year I go to those mountains to farm shiitake mushrooms and sell them to restaurants and grocery stores. It's actually a very profitable business, you know? Thank you for watching! What kind of crazy people will we get to see next? Stay tuned for